Hey everybody, it's Will Hill from County 10 and Patrick Adam Lawson from Wind River Internet.
Hello.
And we've got Terry behind the camera. Terry, say hi.
Hello.
There she is. You know she's there. And we are, I was just thinking we really ought to create an animation for this. We've been doing this, these tech tip sessions almost, but not quite, every month for over a year. Woo! All right. I have no idea what edition or anything like that. They're just a lot of fun. I hope that we have answered some questions for you guys. I hope that we have given you some tips, some updates, something to think about, a product that you could use, or just something to avoid. Like today's topic, ransomware, which stinks a lot. Ransomware, cyber attacks in general, not just ransomware, but cyber attacks in general at an all-time high. And we're talking about emails that you get with the, not just the Nigerian prince that wants you to send him a check, but also, phishing attacks. We've done, in fact, look back on our YouTube channel for previous tech tips that we did with phishing and email scams and all of those different things. But probably the most insidious, that is a big word, insidious, and I mean it, the most ugly attack that you can get these days is ransomware. And so we're going to turn it over to Patrick Adam and define ransomware for us.
Yeah, so ransomware, I know we've covered it before in the past, but I wanted to bring it up because the FBI is saying now there's over 4,000 ransomware attacks launched every day. So that's every 40 seconds that there's an attack. That's ridiculous, and it
is very ridiculous.
I thought because it's hitting a lot of people locally now, we wanted to get the word out there so people can avoid it. So ransomware is malware that's designed to deny a user or an organization access to their files on their computer. I'm reading this verbatim from the wiki. By encrypting these files and demanding ransom payment for the encryption keys, the malware places organizations in a position where they are paying a ransom is the easiest and cheapest way to regain access to their own files. So ransomware is usually installed in vulnerabilities in older software, operating systems on the computer, and social engineering. And that's how most of the people I know have been hit with social engineering. So they can have the best antivirus, the best firewall, all the top security, the most secure password, but somebody calls up and says, Bob from your IT department told me to give you a call. I'm from Microsoft. We found this huge vulnerability in your system, and if we don't get in there and install that patch right away, the hackers are going to get to it. But they're the hacker.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, there's a thing on your screen, and they're like, and they'll tell you like, oh man, we're too late. There's a ransom on your computer, and you won't be able to use it unless you go and you pay us X amount of money. And they're usually really smart. What they'll do is they'll figure out exactly how much money your organization has. They'll go in and they'll look at your bank account and be like, oh, they got X amount of money, cash on hand. I'm like, oh, it looks like they've been doing this amount of business, and if they were to drag this out and try and fight it, it would cost them this amount of money. So these guys could probably swing about $20,000, and they'd probably just pay it as opposed to trying to get the law enforcement involved and everything.
Right. I talked to a business in Fremont County that was hit by one of these attacks. And he said, I'm stubborn. I am not going to give in to this. And he didn't. And he didn't have QuickBooks in the cloud. He had it on his computer, and he lost, I think he said 15 years of data. It was backed up from the week before, but it wasn't. It wasn't the same, like it was very kludgy the way that it talked, but he eventually got it to work. But I don't know that it was a ransomware attack, but this stuff happens all the time. We just at our office, I sent emails to several of my staff members, except it wasn't me. It didn't come from my exact email. I don't remember what it was. It was like,
I don't think I got
like County 10 or county ten.com spelled out, something like that. But it was a spoof email, and it said, hey, I need you to do me a favor. Please email me back immediately. And they were whether it was phishing or whether it was ransomware, it doesn't matter. But this stuff happens all the time, so you've got to be on the lookout for it.
I saw one online the other day. I don't know if it was real, but it was funny. They said, were showing pictures of their phone, and it said, hey, this is Michael Jackson. I'm not really dead. I'm just out of the country, and I need you to wire me $600 so I can get back in and make new music. And then it said, hee hee. Or tee.
My grandmother about a year ago got hit with this, and a phone call, and Grandma, this is Daniel. I'm in Cancun or something, and I need you to wire me money. And fortunately, my grandmother had just talked to my cousin Daniel, and he was not in Cancun. He was with his family in the States, and so she knew to hang up. But the stuff's bad. So tell us more.
So here's a few tips. These are some of the most, I don't know, I guess the easiest things you can do to avoid getting hit with one of these ransomwares. Like, make sure you have the latest updates on all your devices, because that's the way they can do it without even talking to you, is they can get in through a piece of software that has a vulnerability or a hole in it, and just because it's on the internet, people can get into it and gain remote access. So basically, like every Tuesday, Windows puts out an update and you want to run it. So when it says there's an update pending, do you want to install it? Do it on everything. So whether it's your phone, your fridge, your TV, because really, anything that's connected to the Internet of Things is, we've done a show about Internet of Things. Those devices can be hacked, and through that vulnerability, they can gain access to another vulnerability inside your system. It's like a real virus in the real world, except there's usually somebody out there that's kind of masterminding the whole operation.
Right. So this is an important one. I think Windows 7, they've stopped supporting Windows 7. So I know there are a lot of machines out there that are still running Windows 7. You might even be watching us from Windows 7 machine. You got to upgrade. That's not supported anymore. And so security flaws that usually are patched with a Microsoft product that's supported, or any operating system that's supported, those patches will be given out periodically, and that's what keeps you from getting hit by these things. But Windows 7 is not supported anymore. Neither is Windows XP or Windows anything before that.
NOME, 98, 95.
3.11. You got to upgrade. Unfortunately, I know that stinks. We like our operating systems, but you've got to upgrade.
There is good news, though. I don't know if Microsoft really advertises it much, but I think anything Windows 7, maybe even Vista, you can upgrade for free. You don't actually have to buy the upgrade. You can just you can search for it online, and it'll give you the Windows Media Creation Kit or something like that, and it'll allow you to do an upgrade to Windows 10. As long as you have a key to an existing Windows product, they allow you to upgrade, because they thought they'd rather have people with operating system that's not getting hacked than force people to pay for the upgrade.
There we go.
And basically, they want people to buy new computers too. Yeah, that's what they're doing with Windows 11. They're requiring some security measures. Some hardware encryption chips on the motherboard, and if you don't have that, you can't upgrade to Windows 11. A lot of computers made in the past few years already have it, so a lot of people will be able to upgrade. But as of right now, the current beta that you can download for Windows 11, you have to have that authentication chip on the BIOS.
Got it. And Apple products update automatically, right?
Yeah, well, you still have to update them.
Well, you got to push the button, but they push the new operating system upgrades.
They're more pushy about it. I think there was like a pie chart I was looking at on like Android and Windows and Mac, and it's like something in the 90 percentile where Mac people upgrade versus other operating systems where it's like 20%. It's a huge difference. Yeah, so that's the big one. Update, antivirus, firewalls, make sure they're on and they're not expired. The free one that you installed 10 years ago probably isn't working or doing its job anymore. The free one built into Windows actually isn't that bad. Windows Defender. and its firewall. They're definitely better than nothing, and they're actually probably better than a lot of the old free expired ones. So make sure you have those on. Here's the big one. Never allow anybody to remote into your computer or your phone unless you call them first. So if somebody calls you up out of the blue and they're like, hey, we got to, they quote somebody that you might know or something that you're using, like your quick, we're from Intuit, and we got to do this update. They never call you out of the blue. It's all, you always contact them first. So that's the biggest one. That's the number one red flag right there. If you get called and you never made contact first, it's most likely a scam. So don't do it. I put in here, only allow your smarter kids or your IT department to remote in after you call them first.
I not too long ago, I got a phone call from Spectrum saying that I needed to upgrade my router firmware because I was creating a clog in the line, and if I didn't update it, there was going to be a huge problem, and I was going to be in trouble and all this. And I thought, this is stupid. So I hung up the phone and I called Spectrum, and sure enough, it was a real thing. But I'm glad that I called because for sure, she said, I need you to read me the little number on the bottom of it, and yeah, that was could have been bad, but it was legit that time anyway.
Huh. That's weird. They had to have you do it and they couldn't do it remotely. We can do it remotely here at Wind River Internet. Yeah, don't install any software you didn't download yourself first. So if it's just something that pops up on your screen saying you want to install this, and you're like, wait a second, I didn't download anything to install, don't install it. The only exception to that would be actual Windows updates that we talked about earlier. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because some of these things will pop up and they'll look just like a Microsoft update. So you got to be careful. Like if it's a little bit off, like it's not in the normal place on the screen and it doesn't look like a normal update, just deny it, because it's better safe than sorry. Yeah. So
the moral of this story is don't do anything. Nothing. Just don't do it.
If it's like that thing, like if it's too good to be true, it probably is type of thing. Well, if it seems fishy, it probably is. Yeah. And always ask somebody that you think might be familiar with the situation, because the odds are, if you think it's goofy and they confirm that it is, then you'll at least be able to blame them if they told you to do it.
There you go. There you go.
Like, it's your fault. You told me it was going to be safe to do.
So don't do drugs. Don't click that link, and blame your friend. That's the thing we'd like you to take home today.
Yeah. Never share your login information, which is a given, but a lot of people do it, and it's just. Never give it out. All legitimate companies never ask for it. So if your ISP calls you up and says, we need your username and your password, maybe they might need your username, but never give them your password, because they can always reset. What they'll do is, if it needs reset, they can reset it and they'll email it to you or text it to you. It'll never be, or they'll give you a temporary one back, but you never give them your password. That's a big red flag there if they're asking for the actual password. Banks never ask for your password as well. Never write down your passwords. I know we did a whole episode on password managers.
We did. Look that one up too.
Yeah, but if you write it down, it's going to be out there somewhere. It could be, you have it written down and your webcam actually gets a picture of it or something. I don't know, but it's just a bad idea to write down passwords.
A password manager is not a piece of paper that is stuck under the top of the desk. You gotta gotta download a password manager.
You think it's okay to share your password with your kids or whatever, but they might be the ones that have the admin password to your computer, and they're like, oh, mom and dad must have installed this, so we'll just go ahead and hit next. And it turns out to be one of those scams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't give them passwords. If you can, and you know how, set up individual accounts for your computers. So make sure your kids have their own account, and on those accounts they aren't able to install stuff without asking you first. Macs are really good about that, and iOS devices. You can do it on Windows too. For some reason, people just don't, but it is way better. It's been getting better over the years. We talked about using complex passwords or phrases as opposed to something simple like your birth date. Almost nothing lets you do that anymore, but they used to.
We talked about this in the Password Manager episode. Also, stop answering those Facebook chain forward posts. Those are the answers to. You go down the list. The top questions that are asked on like password review, the security questions. That's what I'm looking for.
The recovery for your password.
Exactly. They're what town did you grow up in?
Where do you like to go on vacation?
What was your first pet's name? What is your mother's maiden name? Like, they're all the way down.
What's the last 4 digits of your social security number?
I know, and it's almost that bad, and you would think that we would stop, but most of those forwards that you see on Facebook or that say, "Oh, we're so tired of lockdown, it's time to have some fun." They're out there from scammers that are continuing to watch them, and they see you, and then they start to try and hack your passwords. So, stop.
Yeah, those are phishing. That's bad. Let your friends know too. So anybody you know, talk to them, let them know that it's bad. It's really bad right now. I was trying to pull up the article, but just this morning, I guess they're putting a big effort on the U.S. to crack down on these ransomware attacks because it's like another pandemic. So there's a huge amount of money that's going out there to try and crack down on these things. You think it would be easy, but they know how to do encryption and firewalls and VPNs and different ways of hiding themselves in different countries through different countries, and it's apparently not as easy as you'd think to catch these guys.
Yeah, especially depending on what they're demanding too. There's all kinds of different ransomware scams. One is pay us or we'll delete all of your files. Or if they have control of your computer, then they might have compromising photos of you. If you have compromising photos of you on your computer or your device, I have none of those. Do you have any of them?
I don't have any of yours.
So that's good. That's good. And they might say, we're going to release these photos, or we're going to release this information, or there are all kinds of different levels of sophistication to try and get money out of you, because your files, it may not be that important to you if you're all in the cloud, that kind of thing, but the photos on your computer might be important to you, and or them not getting out might be important to you. So it's not just the information on your computer; it's also what that might mean for you if it's put out there on the internet. So all kinds of ways that they try and extort you and get money from you. But it's really kind of scary.
Oh yeah, backups good. Doing backups. The kind of crazy thing is though, some of these ransomwares, they'll actually encrypt your backups as well. So you got to be careful about that. Doing offsite or remote or archived backups, so that they're not, like if you're synchronizing on like Dropbox or something like that or iCloud, and then they encrypt the file and it gets synchronized everywhere encrypted, you're SOL.
That's not helpful.
It's not helpful.
Not helpful. What else do we need to know?
Don't rely on antivirus and firewalls for protection. Be vigilant and extremely careful. So, again, going back to if it seems fishy, look into it more before you proceed, because it probably is a scam right now with the odds of how much it's increased.
Absolutely.
Oh, especially if they're asking for money in weird ways. So if they're calling up and saying, "Oh, your antivirus is out of date. You need to renew it right now, and it's it's $50." And you're like, "Oh, yeah, probably." But we need you to pay with a prepaid Visa card. Like, what? Or we need you to buy some Bitcoin and send it through Bitcoin. That seems kind of odd.
I don't think I'm going to pay my bill in Bitcoin. Thank you. I have to tell you. So I get these all the time. My phone rings. These guys at the office, they hear me, son of a, this is the, I get 15, 20 calls a day. And so if I happen to answer one that looks like it might be something legitimate and it's a, you know, a scam, it drives me insane. And it was a weekend and I was out on vacation with my family. We weren't in town, and I got a phone call, and the person said, hi, this is so-and-so from your accountant's office, and they named the correct accountant and everything. And it sounded legitimate, and then she started asking me very specific questions about our account, and she wanted a specific number that we had, all these different things. And I said, there's nobody by your name that works at our accountant's office, and I hung up on her. About 15 minutes later, my accountant calls and says, did you yell at one of our employees? So occasionally it's real, but it's not very often. So it looks like we've come to the list of your tips. So to review, don't anything, and blame your friends, but also tell your friends if you get caught. And make sure that you're updating and upgrading and staying with the most current software and operating system for your devices, and be vigilant. Those are the big things. Those are the takeaways. If it seems like it's a scam, it probably is a scam today. So I was just looking, it's a Washington Post article, and I can't tell you anything about it because I don't have a subscription to the Washington Post. And unlike County 10, they have a paywall. So I can't read you, but if you have a Washington Post subscription, you can read that article that Patrick Adam was referencing about ransomware today. So do we have any questions about the topic out there?
No.
None of those. So before we get to the almost certain likelihood that there is a question about the next place that Wind River Internet is going to install a tower, I'll let you give us any updates if you've got any updates.
I do actually have some updates. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the name of the locations. So basically, we've got 2 new towers out for wireless internet. Fixed wireless internet. So this is still really high speed stuff. We can go up to 100 megabytes in speed. It's unlimited, so there's like no data caps or anything like that. And it's the 2 newest towers are between Riverton and Kinnear. So that area has been kind of neglected, at least from us, forever. And we can see from those 2 tower locations a couple hundred homes. So hopefully, I know we've got a callback list of about 100 people. And if you call us within the past year asking for service in that area, we're going to be doing installs starting next week. So one of them's up right now, and the other one we're just finishing up the next couple days. So yeah, if you live in between that area, give us a call, 857-2004, or you can actually just go to our website, windriverinternet.com, and you can request to see if you can get service. No commitment or anything. Just put in your address, and we'll call you back and let you know if we can get service to you there.
Great. So questions?
I have one question from Mary, and she says, is Wind River Internet available to us? And she's at 222 North Fork Road in Lander.
You need to call the office. I think so. We have a lot of people on North Fork Road in Lander. So I can't say because of the way the system works. You have to be line of sight to a tower, so there could potentially be trees or another building in the way. But generally, yeah, that area we do cover. Update for the fiber optic side is, I know I've probably talked about it for the past like half a year, but for real this time, we're lighting up the fiber optic at Mill Creek Housing out in Ethity, as well as the Ethity Village out directly in Ethity, the housing projects there. So we I don't know, turned on about a dozen people so far, and there's quite a few more. But if you live in that area and we're calling you, that's why, because we're ready to switch you guys over. Doesn't cost anything. You can keep your old plan if you want to, or you can pay an extra $10 and get at least double the speed. Yeah.
That's great. Mary, I'm Patrick Adam mentioned it a second ago, but I'm going to let you know. So all of you, and Mary with her question, if you go to windriverinternet.com and once it loads, click on service availability at the top. And
it's in the upper right-hand corner.
Upper right-hand corner. And if you click on that, there's a little form to fill out. Stick your information in there, and it goes directly to these guys. And it is just as good as picking up the phone or hitting us in the comment section. And it won't be Patrick Adam personally, but it will be somebody who will research that address and find out if they're able to provide that service to that address. So
I probably will be in on the discussions, though, on whether or not you can get service if it's a little bit more complicated. Yeah. Of note, we don't ask for any information that isn't in like a phone book there. So we're not asking for your mother's maiden name or your favorite color or where you were born.
It does, since we I mean, on that topic, since we just talked about if it feels weird, it probably isn't real. When you do click on that, because of the necessity, it takes you to a slightly different site. So you're on windriverinternet.com, and then it takes you to sites.towercoverage.com. So that's another way that that scammers can get you. If you see countyten.com, you won't see that because we own it. But if you see something like that, or it's just a little bit off, it's like Amazon spelled with two A's and an A instead of an O or something like that, or you're on a regular website and it takes you somewhere that seems a little weird, they might be trying to pull information from you. However, sites.towercoverage.com is a legitimate site where they're trying to get information to tell you if you can get service from Wind River Internet. So
it's actually a pretty cool little system that automatically kind of does all the mapping and figures out whether or not you can get service. I was going to say, though, about emails. Emails are actually really easy to spoof. Like, anybody can pretty much just say their email address is anything. It's like the return postage on a postcard or something. You can really write anything on there. I could say, I'm Bill Clinton or something, and give it and mail it to somebody. So just because it looks accurate on the reply to, you got to look further. There's actually like a section where you can look at the header information, and you can see what domain like website is actually coming from, and if they don't match, like I said, check with an IT guy. They can figure out if it's a really scammy thing or not. If it looks legit and it's fishy.
Email services like Gmail will pick up on some of that stuff automatically, and they'll pop up. I think it's now a really bold yellow bar that says this email doesn't seem safe.
Yeah, and
let you know so that you can catch on to those things. So, anything else? The only takeaway I'm going to have from this video is to blame my friend. So I'm gonna ask him, hey, is this software safe? And he's gonna say yeah, and I'm gonna install it, and it's gonna steal all my information, and I'm gonna blame my friend.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. So cool.
Oh, I guess if people haven't noticed, on Federal we have another building. That is not an area to go to pay your bill or anything. That's you'll see tons and tons of fiber optic cable and conduit and trucks, and that's where our construction crew's at. So we are doing IT services out of that building, but all of the billing and everything is still done here up by Smith's and Arby's and stuff on Main Street, the 1100 West Main.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, if you have nothing else on ransomware or any other random tidbits or updates, no?
No, I think we're good.
All right, perfect. Well, that's another edition of Tech Tips. No more questions. I forgot to ask. No more questions. And check out windriverinternet.com to find out if you can get service. And we'll be back again next month, I hope, with another edition of Tech Tips. Thanks a lot.